Hey guys, hello. Welcome to my second live stream of the day. I've not done this before. I've not done multiple live streams, so welcome. I'm just trying to fill in the gap while the Headleys and Aaron Smith-Levin and Mike Rinder are on a lovely cruise in the Caribbean. So yes, I'm very jealous. But that means there's not too much content out there in Scientology land tonight and this week. So I thought I'd jump on and give you guys a little bit more apostate Alex time. So hello everybody, I hope you can hear me okay. Give me a message in the comments if the sound levels need changing or anything like that. But I don't have too much to talk about today as a topic. I thought this would just be a nice easy flow Q&A for you guys. I think a good starting point perhaps would be Narconon, which is the video I uploaded only a few moments ago. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it, but Narconon is the center that exists in the UK that Scientology run for rehabilitation of drug users, and they use a Scientology L. Ron Hubbard developed process to help people get off drugs. And the CQC, which is the Care Quality Commission, actually did a report that found the place to be not very well managed and pretty empty with only 2 students there. So I did a video on that. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. I thought let's start by having a little bit more of a delve into that. This is the government website in the UK, which shows from the Charity Commission Narcanon's set up here in the UK and all of the reporting they have to give. So it shows here total income for the last financial year, £159,000, total expenditure, 182,000, 2 trustees and 9 volunteers. If we look into more information here, you can see this is where they are based and who they're regulated by. CQC is one I was telling you about a second ago. Now, it's really interesting here to look at their income. So total gross income, 2017, £300,000. 2018, 716, 2019, 300, 2020, 230, 2021, 159,000. So their income is decreasing. I mean, we do have to consider that there was a big thing we can't talk about on YouTube, but the big C word, the pandemic that occurred over that period of time. So you'd expect a drop in figures anyway. But if we look at where they were in 2018 with £700,000 of revenue, and now they're not even scraping 200,000, that's huge. It's been steadily declining for years, which is hardly surprising. Interesting also, if we look at their annual returns, they filed their most recent return 108 days late. 108 days late. They couldn't even be bothered to send in their annual return. Reporting year 31st of December 2021. So that would have been due sometime afterwards, but it was received on the 16th of February. It was 108 days late. How hard is it to send in a form that tells you how much money they've earned and how much they spent? I get that it takes time to do this sort of accounting stuff, but 108 days late, they're not helping themselves, are they? But anyway, this is the Charity Commission website for Narconon UK. So anyone can access this online. You can also see what they exist to do. So Narconon, the objectives are to reform and rehabilitate persons who are for the time being or who have at any time been drug addicts. 2, to assist in the reformation and rehabilitation of persons who have at any time been convicted of any crime, and to advance the education of the public and or persons who have been dependent upon or affected by the use of drugs about all matters relating to abuse addiction, in particular for the provision of advice, information and support. So really interesting load of information here. This is what I like about the UK, is they make all this information so easily and readily accessible. So that is Narconon. If you haven't checked it out already, go check out the video I just uploaded. But for now, let's do some Q&A. So now is your time to ask me anything you want to know about my time on staff as Director of Public Book Sales in London. Just check in. Hey, Colonel Brock, how you doing? Why too bogus? You didn't join them on the Tom Cruise. No, I didn't join them on the cruise. It's kind of they are the three of them are good close friends. This is like a family annual trip that they do every year. I believe they do it every year. So this is just for them. I say the three of them. I meant Mark and Claire as one unit because they're one family. Then Aaron Smith 11 and his family, and Mike Rinder and his family. So three families. Broken dishes, 2 dice Monday. I know. I'm spoiling you guys. This is what happens when everyone else goes away. I can stream to my heart's content. From a poet, hi all. Hello. Jessica Rolfe, hello from snowy Rochester, New York. Nice. Hello. Albany, New York. Ah, the home of Nexium. They're based in Albany, or were based in Albany. Hello from Western Australia. Hello from Minnesota. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Gosh, we've got a load of people in here from all over the world. Jazzy J, I hope the three amigos and Claire need a better name than that. Maybe the SPTV crew are enjoying their family time vacation. Miss them though. You're doing a great job helping out with content. Thank you. I do plan to be doing more content anyway, but I thought this is actually quite a good opportunity to do some more. I should actually. I've got the SPTV logo thing. Should I add that now? Maybe I should add that to this stream because I'm going to count this as an SPTV stream. Where is the thing? Here we go. Which one should we? There's so many. Okay, I'm going to choose that one. Add logo. Yeah. Here we go. There it is. That side. You guys asked for it. And I delivered. All right, let's have a little look at these questions and comments here. I already need a shot and a thip. I never thought I'd be glad to live in Central Palestine. I was talking about weather. Where's Clearwater Chad with this weather notification? I need a weather update from Clearwater Chad. Jazzy J, what are your thoughts about how long Scientology will be able to continue as it is? I think, let's be honest, guys, Scientology has very deep pockets. There's a lot of money Scientology have, and they will, even if they get their tax exempt status removed in the US tomorrow, they will continue going on for a very long time. They have enough money to continue operating as they currently are for a very, very long period of time. And that's why I think the tax exempt status is important. And it will be one of the key things that lead to their eventual downfall. But you've also got to remember they don't have tax exempt status here in the UK, and they're doing just fine. There are lots of countries where they're not recognized as a religion. There's lots of countries where they're not recognized as a charity. They are able to continue even though they are being hounded all over the world by the press and so on. So I think for the time being, they're going to stay. And also, there will always be a form of Scientology. Owen Hubbard's books will always be there. His writings will always be there. And even if there isn't an official church of Scientology, there will always be people that follow his principles and apply his techniques. And, you know, that's just something we have to live with. And I don't think there is anything wrong with people using and believing in Scientology. You can believe in what you want. The problem is when it is used in a coercive control kind of way, or it's used to manipulate or abuse people. That's when it becomes a problem. And I have no problem if someone wants to be a Scientologist. You are free to believe whatever you want. What I do have a problem with is when Scientology is used in a bad, manipulative way, like it did with me. I was locked in a room. I wasn't allowed to leave until I'd written up and told them what I'd done wrong. That is where there's a problem with Scientology, is when it's used in that way. If Scientology hospital donation was accepted, do you think that would have been enough to prove public benefit and get UK religious status? If so, we need to thank hospital administration. So thank you for your comment here. This comment, for everyone who's wondering, is about the hospital donation. So Scientology, they requested to send a donation. They tried to donate to a local hospital in East Sussex, I believe it was, near St. Hill, and the hospital said, no, thank you, we don't want your money. And so what Bok Buddle here is asking is, if it was accepted, would that have been enough to prove public benefit and get UK religious status? And no, I don't think it would, because giving money to another charity is not a charitable cause, right? You can't set up a charity in the UK and say, yeah, we benefit the public because look, all of the money we get, we give to another charity. That doesn't cut it. You as a charity need to be doing something for public benefit yourselves, right? So by providing services as a Scientology church, you need to prove that that is what is publicly benefiting. It is a public benefit, not just if you donate money to us, we give it to a charity. If you want to be a charity yourself, you need to be doing something to help the public. And by having a paywall for their services, you have to pay to receive Scientology services. You can't do it for free, and there are no conditions for those on low incomes. That is what is holding them, giving them a little barrier. And I don't think they ever will be successful. Or if they are, I'd be very surprised. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they try again to get charity status, but I think they'd have quite a big fight on their hands if they were to do it. Colonel Brock, Alex, who are the prominent Scientologists in the UK? Anyone we would know? Yes. So I used to spend a lot of time with Tom Cruise's daughter, Isabella Cruz. We knew her as Bella. She was a public at London Org while I was there. So she's probably the most high profile person in the UK that is a Scientologist that spent time at London Org. There's also someone called Stephen Ridley, who is a concert pianist. He has a lot of followers on Instagram and he's a bit of an influencer. He joined Scientology while I was there, and he's now kind of a VIP celebrity in the Scientology world. We also have the Jive Aces. They're the most kind of publicly out there Scientologist band group of kind of jazz musicians. They perform at all the events at St. Hill and so on. Judy, do you have friends still in the COS? If so, do you keep in contact off record, of course? I think I've answered this one before. I do have people. There are people who I would have considered friends when I was in Scientology that, you know, when you leave, it just makes you question how much of a friendship it really was, because if they're not allowed to talk to you because you've left the church, you know, then that puts you in a place of going, well, who do I value more, my friends or the church? And so I think a better way to answer that is, if they were allowed to speak to me, or if they were to leave the church, would I continue being friends with them? Absolutely. Every single one of them, pretty much, bar one or two. The majority of people that I worked with are, you know, would still be friends and are welcome in my life at any point. And I would totally continue having a friendship with them if they were allowed to speak to me, if they were allowed to have a friendship with me. Do I keep in contact with them? No, I mean, yes, kind of. There are a couple of them that I hear from every now and then. There is someone that is in regular contact with me who is a current Scientologist. That is, let's call it a source, I suppose. And I'm not going to say whether that's someone at London Org or someone internationally, or whether they are a staff member or a public, because I don't want to give away too much and I don't want the church to know. But there are definitely more than one person. There are definitely multiple people who I am in touch with, who one or two may or may not know what I'm currently doing, but there are definitely one or two who are fully aware of what I'm doing and speaking out and giving me information and info about how things are run at the moment, what's going on behind the scenes. Are there any policies about getting rid of old Scientology books after buying new releases, updated versions? Yes. So in the early 2000s, there was a thing called the Golden Age of Knowledge, where David Miscavige re-released all of the books that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, the basics books, and edited them and so on. And we were told to chuck out all of our old books and buy them all again. So absolutely, there was a policy. You had to get rid of all your books and buy the new updated versions. But there hasn't been a big update like that in years, because you can only get away with doing that so many times, because L. Ron Hubbard's words are not meant to be changed or adjusted. Broken dishes. So in the UK as well as the USA, there is no trained healthcare personnel overseeing the detoxing. That is correct, 100%. There are no trained healthcare professionals at the Narconon Centre, as far as I'm aware. If you look at the CQC report, it is clear that the people in charge do have some sort of minimal care qualification that is a requirement that you can do to kind of train you on the basis of how to care for vulnerable people. But there are definitely no qualified doctors or medical people who are on site delivering the program. It is, there are points at which doctors have to be involved to sign people off before they do the program, and the GPs and so on, general practitioners, doctors are involved in, signing off people to do the course, but they're not there on site all day every day actually performing or delivering the service itself. That's all done by volunteers, that are staff members and not necessarily doctors. Thank you for all the love in the chat. Appreciate the extra content. We love a good logo. Yeah, we got it up there. There it is. Christine, do you have a group of former Scientology friends there in London? Seems to be a lot less in England. So no, I actually, well, there are definitely former Scientologists in and around London and the UK that I'm in touch with that have reached out, and we are going to meet up at some point. But there's not a great deal of awareness and knowledge out there about former Scientologists in the UK, and I think that's part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, because there are definitely, Shane Waitman is a former Scientology staff member in London that's spoken out. There have been a couple of SEAL members and others. There's one up in Manchester and one who left the St. Hill, like SEAL down in St. Hill, that have spoken out. But I'm certainly the first, as far as I'm aware, first and only UK staff member to speak out and continually put content out there and actively do what I'm doing. So I'm hoping with this, more and more people come through the woodworks and realize that there are lots of people out there that have left and want to talk to each other and create this community of people that has already started to happen. I get messages every single day from people who have left and just want to speak to someone else who's been through something similar. Scott, thoughts on getting online at Ronsorg? So for me, Ronsorg, for those of you who don't know, is an independent Scientology organization. Scientology being delivered and people trained and so on outside of the main Church Scientology itself. As I said previously, if people want to do that, they are more than welcome to. I have no issue with people being independent Scientologists. But for me, it's not something I subscribe to. I threw the Scientology belief system in the bin a long time ago, and so I have no desire to continue in that whatsoever. But I have no issue with other people who want to, as long as it's not being used for coercive or in a not very nice way, which is how Scientology does apparently run itself, unfortunately. Alrighty. Clearwater Chatter. Anything Alex says sounds smart with the accent. I mean, he's smart anyway. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. The nurse. Do you assist the Artemis Foundation in the UK? I haven't heard it mentioned much on other channels. Yeah, so there's a link in every single video I ever put up to the Aftermath Foundation that says if you need help, go here. I do actively support that. I am on their list of volunteers, and Mark, Claire, Aaron, everyone involved knows that I am here in the UK and willing to help in any way I possibly can. I think there's a note that needs to be, people need to be aware that the phone number for the Aftermath Foundation is a US phone number. So if you are in the UK and need help, there isn't a UK number to call that I'm aware of. So maybe that's something I could help with, but I have offered my help to Mark and Claire and everyone else. And if they need it, they know where I am. I'm happy to help with anyone that needs to come out of Scientology or needs help or so on. Why change with the logo? I'm not changing anything. As I said earlier, I'm just not sure whether I want to subscribe to the SPTV thing for all of my videos because, I'm just not sure about it. But for this particular live stream, I'm using it because, this is a one-off live stream Q&A. So I felt, why not use it? You guys said you want to see the logo, so I'm using it. So here it is. The last line of the paragraph detailing the freeloader debt was completely sketchy and looks like it was written by a teenager. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the contracts are just heavily, overly worded to make it sound confusing and scare you off rather than anything. I don't know if any of those contracts have ever, I don't think they have actually ever been tested in the courts here in the UK. So it would be really interesting to see whether any of them would actually hold up at all. Colonel Brock, Alex, this is silly, but being a Brit, did you have any difficulties with misunderstood words reading the LRH works? No, I think being a Brit doesn't, there's not too many words that are used in America that aren't used here in the UK. I think there are some things that are the other way around, certain words that we use here that aren't used over there. But you also have to understand that people in the UK are brought up watching, especially people of my age, watching American TV and sitcoms and games and films. It's all very American based. So we are all very used to hearing American slang and American terms and so on. So that wasn't really a barrier for me. Alrighty. Were you allowed to just put the old books in the bin, or were you all required to keep the old versions too? I think Aaron mentioned some people giving the old one to secondhand bookshops. As far as I'm aware, I wasn't in Scientology when this happened, but as far as I'm aware, you just had to dispose of your old books. They didn't say how. You didn't have to hand them in or anything. You just do what you want with them. They're just not current Scientology policy. So just get rid of them, whether you want to do that by giving them to a secondhand bookshop or donating them to charity or whatever. No one really cared. Alrighty, Denver Stevo is coming soon to an SPTV channel near you. Subscribe and get your channels. Hey, that's really exciting news, Denver Stevo. Lovely. Love to hear that. I can't wait to see what content you've got coming. Drop me a message. Send me an email. My email's in the description, hello@apostatealex.com. Drop me an email and I'll it would be great to have a chat with you before you start and see if I can help you out at all, or maybe get you on a live or something here if you want. Alrighty. I know with your dedication effort, you'll build up an SP UK Europe community. Yeah, for sure. I think that's what I said before. There's not too many people out there that are speaking about Scientology publicly in the UK and Europe. I mean, John Atack is there. He's been doing a great job and has done for a very long time. There are people with links here in the UK, but there's just not. I'm certainly the highest ranking Scientology staff member in the UK that's spoken out publicly, as far as I can tell, as far as I'm aware. So I think the more I can do, just sharing my story and sharing other people's stories, the better. I think that's the key. Laurie H, what did your family think of you signing up to Scientology? I'm going to be doing a whole video on this because my family were not Scientologists. I was not raised a Scientologist, so I don't want to leave you hanging, but I will be answering that question in a video soon because it's a whole topic to talk about for sure. Nurse, I'll be driving but still listening. Thanks so much for your time, Alex, answering our questions. No worries. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. The logo SPTV have is great, but it's a bit too close to the MTV channel logo. Yeah, so there's a whole folder of different logos that Mark Headley sent to me that people have created, and there's one that's even more specifically like the MTV logo that I find quite funny. If I see if I can upload it now, actually, and you'll see what I mean. Where is it? This one. So look, this one is the most MTV like one, I think. It's even got the red TV. I thought it's hilarious. I know that they're all created by fans and you guys, so I don't know who made what one, but they are pretty cool. They're nicely made. Alrighty, what else have we got in the comments? Linda, Alex, were you an impressionable teenager when you joined CS? Do you think you would have joined as an adult? Yeah, I was an impressionable teenager. I was looking for a purpose and a meaning in life. I was looking for a community, some like-minded people to spend my time with and make new friends and figure out who I am and why I'm here and figure out what I want to do with my life. And Scientology filled that gap for me when I was a teenager. And one thing that you have to understand is that when you were in a cult or a group that's like this, it kind of puts that development on hold. So even though I'm 27 now, almost 28, it's only now that I'm starting to work on that stuff that I didn't work on during the time I was in Scientology. So those questions of who am I and where am I going and what am I doing in this life are very much still there. And those are questions that are unanswered that most people find the answers to when they're a teenager. And that just doesn't happen when you're in Scientology. So that's the work I'm working on now. So I don't really know how to answer that second part of the question. Do you think you would have joined as an adult? Because it depends on if I'd found the answers to those questions. If I knew more who I was and what I was doing and what I wanted to achieve in life and who I wanted to be, maybe those questions wouldn't, I wouldn't have those questions and therefore wouldn't have joined Scientology. But then again, I may not have found those answers, or I may still be to this day trying to figure it out if I hadn't been to Scientology. So who knows? Who knows? Colonel Brock, Alex, what is St. Hill like today? St. Hill is very much empty as far as I can tell. Whenever I was there were lots of people about all the time, but empty in terms of if you compare that to what it was like when L. Ron Hubbard was there in the 60s. When I went to St. Hill, it is a lovely part of the world. It's in the countryside, it's very quiet, it's a nice place to go for walks, there's lots of family things that go on there, lots of families who live in the local area that the Scientologists will go and spend time at the cafe and just chill out there because it's a nice communal area. But yeah, Scientology headquarters, St. Hill, is a huge sprawling estate. They've expanded recently. There's now a separate load of buildings for the CLO, the Continental Liaison Office, down the road. You can see pictures of that on the website. So yeah, it's interesting, but it is a very quiet, very calm place to just be around and walk around and so on. Goldie, hey Goldie, thank you for coming along. Denver, Goldie. I love the Denver and Goldie love here. This is such a nice little community. Nurse, do you think you might catch up for a chat with John Atack at some point? Absolutely. I did mention this the other day on or maybe it's earlier today on another live stream. I did have a brief chat with John Atack a while ago, and I got the impression that he was trying to step away from Scientology a bit more in terms of what he's talking about. But definitely should reach out to him again, and it's on my list of things to do to see if I can have a chat with him and see what his view is on this sort of stuff. But I know he is kind of handing the baton over to Chris Shelton to do content about Scientology and coercive control groups and that sort of thing. Alrighty. Thank you so much for all of your comments, guys. I heart my SPTV. Denver. Love it. Do you want me to translate it? It's so interesting. Yeah, for sure. I definitely think he's interesting. He's got a lot of knowledge, and he was in Scientology way before I was, so he's got lots of information dating back to the 70s. There are some interesting things happening this week, actually. So on Thursday, I will be going live with Catherine Olson and Ian Rafalco. We are going to be talking about the superpower rundown, and Catherine and I were both on staff during the Golden Age Tech 2 and the Superpower release, and we were both on staff and aware of the training that was going on. So we're going to be talking about that and how that affected the orgs that we were working in, Columbus and London. And Ian is someone who has done the Superpower rundown. He was on the rundown. He was also trained when he was a staff member at Atlanta org. And so he's got a really interesting perspective too. So the three of us are going to be going live. I can now confirm that will be happening at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, which I believe is 7 p.m. UK time. So tune in for that. We'll be going live together and having a really interesting chat. I was going to go live today with Doug, but we've had to postpone that. So hopefully we can get that on the cards again soon. Colonel Brock, what does the D stand for in PTSD? So PTS is potential trouble source, and D is just the type. So there are different types of PTS. There's potential trouble source type A, B, C, D, and so on. And D is the type that I was, which is responsible for condition case, which is someone that Apparently, I wanted auditing for free and blamed Scientology entirely for its for all the condition and case that I was in, and for all upset in my life. It was all Scientology's fault, and I was using a planned campaign to attack Scientology and to get Scientology services for free. That was the definition of PTS type D that they applied to me, which obviously also isn't true. Stacey, ultimately getting more exposure to all population is everyone's goal, so anyone who can start talking and sharing is great. Absolutely, 100% agree. I think the more people, the merrier. The more stories that come out, the better. I have a whole wealth of information and stories from people that have come out and contacted me over the last couple of weeks, and I can't wait to start sharing some of those things. I'm not going to share stories without their permission, whether it's anonymous or not. I think I have a really big thing in my mind where I want to make sure I'm not breaking anyone's trust. So I can't wait to start sharing some of those stories with you guys when I have sought the relevant permissions to do so. Alrighty. PTSD, I thought you were all talking about. Yes, so that's the funny thing. Potential trouble source type D, PTS type D is also PTSD, as in, yeah, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about my declare. But anyway, one thing I did also want to say, thank you for everyone who's done super chats and things so on in the past. YouTube actually take a really big cut from the money used with super chats, the money made through super chats. The best way of supporting financially is to buy me a coffee. If you go into the link of the description, buymeacoffee.com/apostatealex, I actually get a bigger share of the money that's used for that, and it all goes towards helping keeping the channel up and running. I have to pay for StreamYard, which is what I use to make these videos, and things like the microphone. This is actually one I'm borrowing at the moment because my microphone is broken and I can't afford to buy a new one, so this is a temporary one, and I've literally recently bought this new microphone arm and so on. So all of the money that you guys have donated so far helps to make this channel a better place, so thank you for everyone who's done that already. Anyway, Shoop. Oh yes, so that's one thing we're missing this week is the Shoops, because obviously Mark Headley is on his cruise. Maybe I should do a Shoops thing. I should have thought about that ahead of time. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow. I don't want to take it away from Mark. It's totally his thing, but I'll think about it. I'll get back to you guys on that, but it might be fun to do an audience participation thing tomorrow. If you guys want me to answer any sort of specific questions about Scientology or my time in Scientology or what it's like here in the UK, please do shoot over an email. I'm always happy to hear from you guys and correspond with you, and I'll do videos as well as per what you guys want to hear. So hello@apostatealex.com is my email address. Get in touch there. I'm always happy to chat with you guys and listen to you guys, and I'll do the content based on what you want to hear. But anyway, that's it for now. It is 1 o'clock in the morning for me. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And I've got more content on the way this week. As I said, buymeacoffee.com/apostatealex if you want to support my channel. Also, if there's any content you want to hear, get in touch as soon as you want, and I will make the content as I can. But in the meantime, stay tuned on Thursday for that chat with Catherine Olsen and Ian. And in the meantime, catch you guys soon. Thank you so much.